Well, it's that time again. Bethesda has dropped another patch for Fallout 76, and this one's kind of a doozy. For the first time since Fallout Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout Tactics, you can now play as a ghoul. That's right, folks, ghoulification, it's back on the menu. The update ranges from 18 to 37 gigs, depending on your platform, so maybe go grab a snack while it downloads, or, rewatch one of my older videos, I won't judge. Now, let's break this patch down into its 5 main highlights. We have ghoulifications, the new perks, level 50 character boosts, weapon damage and AP cost changes, and the new season. First up, the big one, ghoulification. When you boot up the game, you'll get a new quest called Leap of Faith. It involves rescuing a guy named Lehman who's been attacked by some masked bandits. You'll meet him at the White Springs Resort, where he'll drop the bombshell that he's got about a week to live, thanks to radiation sickness. Not exactly a feel-good start, but hey, it's the wasteland. Lehman's desperate, so he points you towards a radiation specialist in the Savage Divide. Enter Parthenia Blankenship and her group, the Revenants, a bunch of ghouls who survive by scavenging and robbing humans. Sometimes things get messy, and Lehman was the lone survivor of one of those messes. Parthenia offers to turn both you, the player, and Lehman into ghouls using a fancy new drug called the Inhaler. This is a new scientific process that she's been working on. Parthenia was the first one to try out this new drug and turn a ghoul in this way. And this just leaves me wondering, is this similar to the ghoul from the Fallout Prime show and how he turned into it? We'll get into this later on. I'll post other videos about this, but I really do think it's interesting that this inhaler, which is similar to what that of Walton Goggins' character, the Ghoul, uses and needs to do. And there are other parts of this update, includes taking drugs to not become feral, similar to that of the Ghoul from the Fallout Prime show. So it just leads me to believe that maybe this more scientific route is how Walton Goggins' character became a ghoul to the first place. But I digress, back in Fallout 76. After taking the inhaler, you get to decide who gets ghoulified. You and Lehman can both get ghoulified, only he can, only you can, you decide. But for my playthrough, I decided to go full ghoul because, well, science, you have to help her out and you gotta make the video. The character customization for ghouls is pretty solid. Lots of new presets and modifications to make your ghoul look as horrifying or as stylish as you want. One downside, no beards. Apparently ghouls can't grow facial hair. Who knew? Once you're a ghoul, you will, in quote, join the Revenants, but honestly, it's a bit underwhelming. Besides the 3 NPCs that are named that you can have light dialogue with, the only other thing you get out of this little faction here is you can get a disguise kit from one of the named NPCs, and essentially get a disguise on whenever you need to talk to other factions within the game, like the Brotherhood of Steel, who would have normally not talked to you at all because you are a ghoul. The faction feels lifeless, with no repeatable quests or meaningful interactions. I blew through the entire questline in about an hour and was left thinking, that's it. It's fun, but don't expect a deep, ongoing narrative of this questline. You basically go in, become a ghoul, and ditch this group as soon as you have come to know them. Literally, it is a super fast questline, and the characters, the ones that they push upon you, I found myself not really liking to begin with, that I couldn't really become fans of. But yeah, that's just my personal opinion about the questline and characters. Now let's talk perks. As a ghoul, you get some nifty bonuses, +3 to strength, +3 to endurance, and a +30 boost to your max HP. You also no longer need to eat or drink, and hanging out in radiation gives you a temporarily HP shield that I like to talk about. Perfect for tank builds if you're not going the bloodied route. But there's a catch. If you don't take drugs regularly, you risk going feral. So you have to pump yourself full of Psycho, Jet, Mentats, anything. Please note, Radaway and Stimpaks do not consider for drugs in this perspective of a chance. And also, let's not forget the -10 charisma hit. So if you're a smooth-talking wasteland diplomat, maybe skip the ghoul life. There are 28 new perks for ghouls, and while I won't go through each of them, they're pretty good at balancing out what you lose as playing as a human. They're especially handy if you're running a bloodied build. Next up, the level 50 character boost. If you're a veteran or just impatient, you can now skip straight to level 50 at the start of the game. They introduced a level 25 boost a while back, but this is the big leagues. It's great for finishing builds quickly, but good luck finding weapons that match your level really quickly. Enemies scale with you, so it's not all sunshine and rad storms. Personally, I prefer the old-fashioned grind method, but hey, the options are nice if you just want to skip ahead if you're trying a new build out. Weapon damage and AP costs also have been tweaked for a few different weapons. It's a minor change, but a welcomed one. Quality of life improvements are always appreciated, even if they're buried within the patch notes. On the screen now, you can see all the different weapons that have increased damage and minus AP costs. Overall, a really good improvement for if you use any of these weapons. And finally, the new season. This one's heavily themed around ghouls, go figure. The rewards are actually pretty cool in this one, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fan of the new seasonal system that they've had in the past year or so compared to the older ones. I really like the old scoreboard and board game method that they had going on. But yeah, that's just my opinion. The items are really cool and might make me stick around a little bit longer to check out what is worth keeping and playing for. But yeah. So will I stay a ghoul? Honestly, yeah, the perks and mechanics work well with my build, and it's just fun to wander the wasteland as a radioactive monstrosity. But is this patch enough to bring me back into Fallout 76 for the long haul? I'm torn. The ghoul stuff is fun, but the lack of depth in the new faction and questline just leaves me wanting more from them. Maybe it'll be introduced later on, but I highly doubt it. Bethesda has a history of just pumping and dumping factions into Fallout 76. As soon as they do one update with this faction, they kind of just remain the same, and very little updates actually change and come with them. Sometimes there's new seasonal updates, but it's very rare that we'll get a new quest line, so this is most likely where they are staying with that. So what I have to say is, if you're curious of becoming a ghoul on this little quest line, give it a shot. It's a fun hour or two, but just don't expect it to reignite your passion for Appalachia or the game. So what do you think of the patch? Will you be going ghoul? Will you be sticking around for it and becoming a ghoul? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you want more Fallout news updates, consider yourself subscribing so you can stick around to get more 76 updates, as well as Prime news and other things along that nature. Until then, this has been Nick from Nostalgic, signing off.